This conference will now be recorded.
Or do you want me to share my screen?
Yes, I want you to share the screen.
All right. Yeah, I need, like permissions.
Yes, give me a second. That. Sorry, not this. Yes, you are the presenter now. Okay,
You
yeah,
can
we are
see
able
my
to see your screen. Yes, we are able to see your screen. So yes,
yeah.
yesterday, not yesterday, day before yesterday, we were looking at the organization hierarchy, right? So okay, the assignment was to create the hierarchy again and see how it works, right? So is that like, are you clear about the hierarchy?
But I didn't get chance to create a hierarchy and go through the links. But
Okay,
yeah, I'll do
fine.
that
At least
today.
the concept is
Yes,
clear, right?
your concept is clear. I didn't go through the each and every option, and
Okay,
yeah, I
okay.
didn't
I would
explore much.
recommend,
To yes,
yes, do that. And in case if you have any issues, you can ask me in the next class also.
yeah, sure.
Okay,
I'll do it today.
okay. So let's go ahead and look at the backlog. Okay, look at the other options here. Okay, so I think we have already covered the views options, right? To your left hand side, recently updated. That is the view list wherein you have the limited number of views with respect to the work items for that particular project. Okay, can you click on the drop down recently created? Yes. So these are the views, and in one of the actions we used follow, right? So if you click on follow, you will be seeing following also, and all the other activities, like if the work items are assigned to you, or if you want to look at only the activities that is performed by you, you can go ahead and click on my activity and see the views here. Okay, and then plus new work item button will enable you to see all the different work items for that particular process. Okay, so the process that we are using here is the agile one, right? And if you want to open the list of work items that are coming based on the view, right now your view is my activity, and if you want to see this activity in terms of queries, which we will be taking in detail in the query section, if you want to do that, go ahead and click on open in queries. Yes, yeah, this is the query view. Okay, because you are seeing queries, and the custom query, because this is the view, this is the query that is coming out of the view, right? So that's why it is custom query, and you can see all the details as you were looking at the query as well. So why query view will be important is because you can even go ahead and edit it based on uh, anything else you want to see. Okay, so if you click on editor, right now we are in the results window. Can you go to the editor? Yeah, in the same, yes, exactly. So here you can see that you have the query view where it will allow you to go ahead and add in the filters for your result. Okay, but right now I'm not going to take the different types of queries and the different types of filters we have. This is only to show the view how it appears from the work items. We have a separate section for queries. Okay, so can we go back to work items again? Yes. So the next option is the column options. Okay, so go ahead and click on column. By default, there will be several columns, which is out of the box from Azure DevOps. If you want to look at, or if you want to add additional columns, wherever you see column options, it will be present in work items, boards, backlogs. It will enable you to add the different columns that you want to see. Say, for example, here in this view, I want to add iteration path because I don't see the iteration path column, right? So go ahead and click on add a column. Yes, type in iteration path. Yes, and then you can click on anything else, anywhere else. Yes, click on OK. Okay, so that's where your iteration path has been added according to the order that you choose. Okay, and if you want to sort, let's go to the column options again. Yeah, click on sorting. Yeah, you can give the sorting based on the different fields. Okay. Yeah, let's go to OK. And also you can even just click on that header so that it'll be sorted based on that. Okay. Yeah, click on OK now. Right now it is getting sorted based on activity date. Go ahead and click on assign to. No, assign to will not make any difference. Click on title. Yes, click on title. Not the title, the name title, header title. Yes, click there. Now you can see the arrow mark, right? Which means it is being sorted alphabetically, right? That means this column is being sorted. Even if you not go to column options, if you want to make the sorting here itself within the list, you can always do that by clicking the headers. Okay. And then there's one more option. Let's go to the next option, which is called as import work items. Yes, go ahead and click on that. Import work items will expect a file to be specified in a specific format. Okay, so for that, first we will have to download few entries. Only then you can see the format where you will have to mention how to import the file. Okay, for now let's park this because once we see the queries, we will come back and see the import functionality. Okay, that makes more sense because right now you don't know the format, so it will be difficult to understand. Okay, let's cancel this. Yeah, the other option which we have is recycle bin. Yeah, click on recycle bin. Recycle bin will also be an important feature because when you're working in a production environment, not every team member will have access to all the resources. And if someone has, if they think that is not valid and if they delete, but later a person from other team would come and tell that this was required, that case you can come here. As an administrators, only the project administrators and the collection administrators will have this access. You will see the entries here. Okay, let's do that. Can you go back to work items? Let's delete one of the work item and we will see how to recover it back. Yes, yeah, delete the task. Click on three dots. Yes, yeah, there only, correct. Yeah, delete. Okay, now go to the recycle bin. Just refresh. Yeah, now task is there. Click on three dots. Yeah, you will have whether to restore it or whether to permanently delete it. Okay, so that's how you can go ahead and restore all your work items in restore option. Okay, so that covers the work items module. Next, let's go to the backlogs. After that, we will see boards because if you understand backlogs, it would be much more easier to understand boards as well. Okay, so what is this backlog? This is also the list of work items that you're creating team wise, right? In the work item section, what was the difference? Work items segregated the number of work items in terms of views, correct? Recently created, recently deleted, irrespective of teams. But backlogs will be in terms of teams, right? So here, if you see, how do you make out to which team you are viewing the backlog? It is for Agile project team, right? So if you go ahead to Agile project team, click on that. There is a drop down which will tell you which team you belong to. Okay, right now we have only one team. That is the reason you are not able to see the backlogs of other teams as well. So let's do one quick thing. Let's go ahead and create one team so that you will see how that backlogs will be differentiated between two teams. Okay, so Monica, go to project settings, go to teams. Yes, add a team, name it as developers. Yeah, that's fine. Create. Okay, so this is where if you want to create the team, you will go to project settings and create the team. Okay, so let's go back to our backlogs. Yes, click on the same drop down. So now you see there are two teams, right? So now we are going to create the backlog for, see, now we have already created, because that time we had only one default team. That's where all our work items were having the area path of Agile project team, right? So now we also have developers. So click on developers. We are going to create the backlog in developers team. Okay, so this is how you will have the project management hierarchy inside a project, because Agile project is a project within the organization. Inside that project, you can have many teams, right? So how do you where your area path will come into picture, and how do you differentiate with which sprint that team is working? That is where your iteration path will come into picture. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create one work item. Okay, okay, here what all you need to observe is that this is at the team view. So you are at the developers team, and the star refers to the favorite, so that it will be under your favorite list. If you're working with the multiple teams, it would help you to get all those favorite lists in the top. Okay, and then the two icons with the members will tell you the details about your team. So can we click that? Yes. So here it will tell you what is your team name, and what is the boards, what is the backlogs, and what is the overview of the dashboards. Dashboards we will be looking later. So it will tell you all the different components of your team. And if you click on members, go ahead and click on members. It will show you all the members who belong to your team, and who all are admin users, who are normal users. It will also show you that right now we don't have many users. That's the reason you're not seeing that view. Okay. And let's go to the epic hierarchy, because this is at the stories, right? No, in the same team. How do you navigate between epics, features, and stories? The left hand side above you see stories, right? Yeah, where you see new work item, come to your left. Oh, sorry, right. Yes. The drop down, yeah, select features. Okay, we have only features, we don't have epics. Why? We have to enable that during the creation of team. Like whenever you're creating team, you have few things that you will have to configure along with the team, like your project settings, team configuration, right? Project configuration and team configuration, correct? So now let's use the settings icon to go ahead and enable epics as well, right? The gear icon.
The project settings, right?
Now you can even do it from the, yeah, you can even do it from the backlogs view as well.
Okay.
Yeah, go to backlogs. Yes, here go to the feature, yeah, gear icon, enable the feature. Sorry, epic. Okay, so now we are at, yeah, you can navigate to the epic. Let's create one epic to show you how it looks for this team. Okay, yeah, go ahead and click on work item. See at which level you are, like means that means if you're at epic, you will be able to create epic, feature, user story. At the user story level, you can also create task and bug, because they are linked with the user story, right? Yeah, you can give the title here, give test epic. And add to top option has three options. Like you can add this particular item at the top, or at a special sequence, or at the bottom. Okay, if you are having a number of requirements, you want to do that, then this would be an option. Okay, so now click on add to top. Can you refresh? It should appear.
Okay. No.
Click again, new work item. Test. To top.
Yes, it's
It is
added.
that. Okay. Yes. So
do we have
right
to
now we are at,
manually create the backlogs, or based on the activities and the user stories, it will appear out here?
no, we will have to manually create. Like there will be a person, usually the BAs. So BAs are responsible for creating all the epics, all the features, all the user stories. Only the tasks and the bugs will be created by developers or testers or any of the operations team who is working on the project. So tasks and bugs should be created by that team. All the other things would be created by BA. Why BA? Is because BA is a person who interacts with your client and collects the requirement, right? Because these are equal to your requirement. So here everything should be defined properly.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now what we will do is that let's go to the user story view. Now we are not going to link anything. I just want to show you at different levels what you can create. So as you see, you are able to create Epic at this level. Same thing with feature and user story as well. Yeah. Test feature. We are not going to link anything. Okay. We are just creating the work items.
Again to the top, add to the top.
Yeah. Add to the top. Why this will be used? Because if in the list, if you see, there is a column with order, right? Order is 1 because right now we have only one feature, correct? Yes. So in case whenever you're dealing with number of requirements, order will signify which has to be executed first, which has to be considered next. Okay, that's where they have given the option to order based on the priority. Okay, let's go to the user story and create one sample user story. Yes. So here in backlog, yes, open that user story. Okay, so here the main thing that you will have to see is the area path and the iteration path, correct? So area path is for developers. Iteration path, can you select? Yes. Give iteration 1.
This one?
No. Yeah, you can select that also. That will be recently selected things. Yeah, you can select that also. Yeah, select iteration 1, save and close. Create one more user story. Give iteration 2. Select the third one and specify the iteration 3.
3?
2. This is the 2, no?
3.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Again, another user story I have to create.
Yeah, third one you can.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and create the third one.
Mainly these all the only main thing like requirement phase only, right?
Yeah, all these are requirements.
Okay.
And these requirements at user story level usually it will be like the executable requirement, and these will be assigned to particular assignees like your team members.
How
Okay,
can we
so now why
assign these user stories to the team members? So from like see, you are saying that business analyst will create all these user stories, but how the persons or team from the business team, so how those people will allocate to the particular teams, like from here, from this page, how he will allocate?
you can go ahead and click on user story. Monica, click on user story. Show the assigned to this one.
Okay. In the
Field. Yeah,
description, he will do
not
in
in the
that.
description. In the assigned to state, yes. Below the title, you see unassigned, right? Below
Okay.
test, yeah. There you will
Okay.
have all the members of your team. They will assign based on that.
Okay. Yeah, got it. Okay.
And is there
Okay.
any
Yeah, and I'll also
is there any link between this user story and the user story which we have created before?
no, there is no link because this is a user story that you're creating for a different area path. So whenever I use area path, that means different team, right? So this is a different user story. That is a different user story. So in this team, who all will be part of this team? Only that team can see all the user story. In the other team, whoever are members of that particular team, only they can see. Because usually in a product development team, it is not that we are going to deal with only one team, right? Maybe developers is one team, testers is one team, BAs is one team, product owners is like product owners will not have a separate team. They'll be included in all the groups as well.
Yeah, correct. But actually, this agile project is one project under one organization. So in this project, we are
Correct.
creating all the requirements. So in that, uh,
Correct.
in that boards is nothing but requirements. But in the work items options, we are creating all the epic and all the future, all these things. So you are saying that there is no any relation between the epic and future, all the tasks which we created under the work items and the backlogs, right?
No, no, no. Don't get confused. Backlogs are a group of work items. Okay. In backlogs, what are you seeing? So we are in the backlog view, right? So here, what are you seeing? You're seeing the work items. So what are work items? Feature is a work item. Epic is a work item. User story is a work item. Okay.
Yeah,
Understood, right?
yeah.
But previously, what we created is for different area path. That means for different team.
Mhm.
Got it?
Okay.
Let me go to work items, Monica. Yes, go to work items. Yes. So here, can you see the area path?
Yeah.
Here everything is
So it
populating.
has,
Sorry.
yes,
Okay.
because work items
Yeah.
is the place where you are not seeing the segregation based on the teams. It is based on your activity or recently updated. So it contains the work items within your project.
Okay. Okay.
Project means agile project, correct?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, got it.
Please, yeah.
So, before we have created epic feature user stories, and
Correct.
that is tagged to agile project.
Correct.
And in the agile project, we have created a team for developers, and now we are creating a new epic feature and user stories, which needs to be assigned to the members who all are part of that developers.
Correct.
Uh,
Correct. So let me give you one more picture. I understood what is your point. Go to the project settings.
where? Okay.
Project.
Yeah, same thing. Go to project configuration.
Hmm.
Yeah, wait here. So for this entire project, there are 3 iterations, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, go to the area parts, go to the areas. So here, by default, there is an area getting created called as agile project when you create a project. So when you create a project, did you create a team called as agile project? No, right? You created only the project. So whenever you create a project, a default team will be created with the same name as your project. Okay.
Yeah.
And then now we have created a new team which is called as developers. Correct. So any team that you're creating after you create the project will be under that hierarchy. Okay. If you want to change this hierarchy, if you want to, if you want to change, you have edit button here. Yeah, go to developers, click on 3 dots. Yeah, edit. So now it is under location agile project, right? So that is the default location where you can go ahead and add the teams. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and create one more project here. Save and close. Not project, new area path. Click on new above agile project. There is a new above agile project. There is a new and new child, right? Not there, not there. Yeah. Click on new. Give testers. Yeah, save and close. So now you've created one area path under that project as testers. Okay, so in area path, what you need to understand is that team is a team name that you're going to create. Area path is the mapping that you're going to do where your team should sit inside the project. Okay, if you don't specify anything, whatever team you create, it will be under the default team that has got created. That is your agile project. Right now we created the developers. Did we mention where it should sit? No. By default, where it will sit under agile project, because that is the default team that gets created, or the default area path that gets created when the project has been created. Got it?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, got it.
And now there should be one more question. I'll tell you. Right now we have created testers, right? So testers is not a team. It is just the area path we have created. Correct?
Yeah,
There is
Yeah.
no team which is binding that. That's where under the teams it is blank. Is it having any value under the team? No.
no.
Right?
So we need to bind
So
that
in
one.
case, yes, let's see how to bind that. Only then you will be understanding this binding thing. Let's go to teams. Yes, right now to bind, we don't have any team, right? We have only two team. One you leave, that is default team, you should not consider. So we have only developers team. So we'll create a team. Go ahead and click on new team. Yeah, testers. Testers demo you give. Wait. Testers demo you give. So that you will differentiate between the area path and the team. Wait, don't click on create. Disable create an area path with the name of the team, because we have already created the area path, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead and click on create.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to project configuration again. See, these things I will tell you, it will not come when you see it. It will be understood only when you do it. Okay, so I would recommend whatever you do in the class, please go ahead and create the dummy areas, dummy team, and then try binding it. Yes, go to areas. Yeah. Now, still you see that it is not there, but you have to bind that team under team configuration. Okay, go to team configuration. No, not there. Yes. Yeah, here select the team. Above there is agile project team, right? The drop down. Above that message, yes. Above that, yes. Yeah, click there. Select the testers demo. Yes. Go to areas.
Go.
Yeah, it is not visible because area is not mapped. Yeah, go to areas. Yeah, just refresh. Usually this happens like that. Yes. So select area. Yeah, now select testers. Include sub areas also. Yeah, save and close. Okay. And go to iterations also. Okay. Yeah, I'll show you iterations also as well. So now you don't have iterations as well because you have not yet mapped. In project configuration, you see there are 3 iterations, but that one you have to map it to the team also. So go ahead and select iterations. Yes, select the iteration 1. Okay, cancel. Okay, this error means that it is telling there is no descendants. That's why you cannot select the iteration, because the backlog iteration you need to set. So in the backlog iteration, click on change. Yeah. Select agile project. No. Select agile project. Yes. Set. Click on set. Yes. Now select the iteration. Yeah. Save and close. In the same way, you have to add all the iterations which are part of project. Okay. For now, let's keep only one. Go to project configuration. Go to areas. So now you see that teams and area path has been binded. Okay, so is the area path and iteration path clear?
Yeah, clear. But once we do some
Yeah, I
practicals,
want you to, yes,
yeah,
do this and then let me know. if you have any doubt. Okay, yeah, let's go back to backlogs.
I have one more query.
Yes, please, Maria. Tell me.
So now we have created a developer group, right? And people who are part of developer group will be able to access the Epic user story and features created under that group
Correct.
team. Correct. So we
Correct.
have already
Correct.
created a feature Epic and user stories under Agile project. So I mean, like,
Yes.
how does it work? Because we are we are also differentiating among the teams, and we have created
Correct.
an
So
Agile
what
project
usually
now.
correct. So now what usually happens is, now whatever you have created, it's under Agile project, right? So Agile
Yeah.
project is the default team. So whoever belongs to the team of members of that Agile project will be able to see all the things you have created and all the things that you have for developers and testers, because that is the higher group, right? Because all the area paths falls under Agile team group. Correct? See, if I
Yeah.
add a member to Agile team group, he should
Hmm.
be able to see everything that you have created. Okay. If
Okay.
I'm adding a member at developers team, then he will not have access to all the things created by Agile team. He will have access only to the work items that are part of developers team. That is where you will get the segregation between different team members viewing their backlog items.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Right. So let's go to backlogs. Yes. So here, yeah, the iteration path and area path is done. So this is the list view. Okay. Backlog view means backlog contains all the why I wanted you to create the user story for different iterations is because I wanted to show you that backlog is not sprint specific. Iteration and sprint both are same. Okay. Iteration, if you want to see the list of backlogs, means the list of user stories or whatever work items you have created specific to an iteration. Like if I want to see all the backlog items belongs to iteration 1, iteration 2 or iteration 3. In that case, we can go and view it in sprints. Okay. But backlog is irrespective of the sprints, because backlog means the requirements for a team. It is not requirements for a certain period. Correct? So that's where here backlog will have all the user stories for that particular team. Okay. Irrespective of the iteration paths. We will see the sprints, then you will understand the difference between the backlog and the sprints. Okay. So for now, in the backlog, you will see all the requirements. That means all the work items with respect to that particular team listed in a list view. That means this is a list, right? One by one you can see, and you can perform a bulk operation on all these backlog items as well using the shift select. Like if you want to select all the 3 user stories, say for example, you know that now all these user stories belongs to a all these user stories has to be assigned to a single person. If you want to do the bulk modification, you can select all the 3. Yes. Shift select. Yeah. Select. Click on user stories. Yes. Now click on 3 dots. Yes. Now all the 3 are selected. Click on 3 dots. Yes. So these are the operations that you can perform for the bulk as well. Okay. So now if you want to assign, you can go ahead and click on assign to, so that it will assign all these 3 user stories to a single user. Okay. And if you want to edit, so let's go ahead and see other operations. Like not only assign to will we will have to do. Let's go ahead and see the other operations. Yes. Click on edit. Yeah. So here, if you want to edit based on the field, right? Say for example, I want to make the state field to be active. Right now, everything is in new, right? So select the field called as state, type in state. Yeah, value select from the drop down, give it active. Yes. Click on OK, means save. So now everything got changed, correct? So in the similar way, click on 3 dots. Yeah, you have edit. So you can go ahead and edit the number of fields as you wish for the modification. Okay, based on the fields, you can select the fields. Okay, and the other option, let's go to the next option. Yeah, click on three dots. Yes, assign to, as we discussed. Copy to clipboard will help you to copy all these contents. Like if you want to copy the user story, title, state, value area, iteration path, all this information. Maybe you want to prepare a report out of it. You want to copy this. You can copy it to the notepad or Excel or whatever you want. Okay, that is what is your copy. And then delete, as we know it is required for deletion. Templates is one thing which is important. I'll tell you that later, means after this. Okay, so next one is add link, like how you want to link. If you want to bulk link, you can use this option. Okay, and if you want to move to the next iteration, you can click on move iteration. Okay, yeah, right now you're not seeing the iteration because the iterations are not having dates, like we have not set the dates. No, that's where the iterations are not visible. Okay, so go ahead and set the dates for the iteration, then check here, it should be visible. Okay, yeah, let's see the next options. Then change parent, if you want to change the parent. Move to position, like as I discussed, like these are the order, right? If you want to move this one to the next position, higher position or lower, you can go ahead and select move position, move to position as well. And if you want to change the type, okay, this one we will see with respect to individual one. The template one and the change type one we will see with respect to individual work item. Okay, and if you want to move this to a team project, that means right now these things belong to which area path? These things belongs to developers, right? In case if you feel that these three requirements does not want to be belonging to developers, it has to move to testers team. You can go ahead and click on move to team project. Yeah, okay, and then email, it will send an email. Can you click on email? Yeah, this view will be there. You can select the two users, and that users should be belonging to Azure DevOps organization. And if you have any note, you can send it there. Okay, yeah, click on cancel. Yeah, I think there's one more option. Click on three dots. New branch. New branch will be dealing when we are understanding Azure Repos. Okay, so these are the bulk operations which will help you to do much more operations when you're working with a production link. Okay, so right now, okay, let's go ahead and see the individual work items, so that we have left this template and change type, right? We will see how that works. Okay, click on one of the user story. Yes, so here also what all operations you performed in bulk, individual also you can perform. You have to click on three dots at the end, like after the follow there is three dots, right? Yes, so here, okay, first let's see the templates option. Go to the templates. Yeah, click on capture. So why templates will be useful is because if you have a requirement, or if you have the user story that will be using similar values every time. Okay, say for example, you know that for this kind of development these user stories will always be there. You don't want to enter all the fields manually, like status is new, description is this one, acceptance criteria is this one. Instead of filling that, if you create a template with predefined values for that fields, it will be much more easier. When you open the user story, just go to the templates, select the template, your changes will be done. Okay, so right now let's create one template. Yeah, select the team for that. Let's select the team as developers. Yeah, name you can mention anything. Give template demo. Okay, yeah, description is also optional, you can even enter that as well. And below that you see that there are different fields that you want to consider in this template. Okay, so the first field is area path. That means whenever this template is applied, even if the area path is different, it will be set to this area path, that is developers area path. Okay, and assign to will always be this one based on the template values. Okay, so whatever values are there in this template, that will be automatically applied to the user story when you select that particular template. Okay, come down. Go to save. Yeah, close it. Close this one also. Sorry. Close this user story also. Let's create a new user story. Okay, give anything like test 4. Yeah. Click on that test 4. Now don't enter any values. Go to the three dots. Yeah, select the template. Yeah, now we see our template created. Enter the template. So now you see the title got changed because the title for that template was test user story 3, correct? Test story 3, right? So all those values will be applied to this particular user story. That is the use of templates. Templates can be created for all the work items like your epic, feature, user story, task, bug. Okay, so that is the use of your templates. Let's see the other one, change type, right? Yeah, click on three dots. The second option, no, not customize. Yeah. So here, this is a user story. So what usually happens in the production is that they tend to put different user stories, but they don't qualify as a feature or user story. They want to change the type. From this user story, I want to change the type. I say that this requirement does not qualify as a user story. It should be a task. That time what we will do, we will change the type of the user story so that all the values that were applied for this particular work item will stay as is. Okay, let's go ahead and change the type to task. Select the task, click on OK. So now you see that the user story has been changed to task, correct? Save and close. Okay, so now you see the type has been changed. Okay, so let's click on that task itself because we have to see other operations also at the individual work item type view. Yeah, click on three dots. Yes, so here you have new link to work item to link a new work item for this task. That is similar to what you have at related work. Okay, change type you saw. Move as team project. Yeah, click on move to your team project. Here select a project. Yeah, select okay, this is to a select agile project only. We are not going to move to a different project, same project. Okay, okay, so different team means we have to change the area path only. So we okay, you have to select the other team because it is already there in agile project, right? Yeah, select the other project. So this is the movement from project to project. Okay, click on okay. Let the type be task only. So now you see that there is a change in the area path, correct?
Yeah.
And it is telling you area path is not correct because there is no developers in the area path called as the other above path, right? So go and click on the area. Yes, select. Yes, select project 1, anything which is available from that area path. Okay, and the iteration also. Yeah, sprint 1. Okay, that's how it is giving you the errors. If you click save and close, this task will be available and moved to the other project. Okay, let's see the other options.
But these options which are related to organization settings also, right? In that organization settings, we selected. I mean, we are choosing one option. Oh, that is related to third party, right? Okay.
Yeah. Which one you're talking about? I didn't get you. It's okay. We'll cover later.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the other options. Click on three dots. Yeah. So here, yes, create a copy of work item will also be useful, similar to a template kind of thing. Okay. Usually, create a copy of work item will be used whenever a sprint spillover happens. Like they would have planned to complete 80 user story in a sprint, but unfortunately, due to some errors or something, they wouldn't have completed all the 18 user stories. Maybe 17 or 16 would be completed. The other leftover will have to be moved to the next sprint. So in that case, instead of moving that particular work item to the next sprint, it is an advised way to keep that user story as rejected in that sprint. Create a copy of the same work item, change the iteration path so that you will have the track what had happened in the previous iteration, also what is happening in the next iteration also. Like whenever you're going to have a meeting or retrospective meeting with your team, you will get to know this was not implemented because of this, but we moved this requirement to the next phase. Okay, that's where your create a copy of this work item will be used. Okay, so it creates a similar work item like the task, it will create a task, one more task with all the properties. Okay, email we have already seen, like if you want to email an individual work item, delete is not enabled because we have not saved it. Okay, once you save it, it will be enabled. New branch we will see when we are looking at Azure RevPos. Customize, if you click on customize, it will take you to the process tab. Okay, that means the background of how your process would look like, but right now let's not take it because we have a separate chapter on that. Okay, keyboard shortcuts is how you can use the keyboards in Azure DevOps, but I don't see that most of them will not use that option. Okay, so this is about the different operations at the work items level with respect to backlog or with respect to individual item as well. Okay, you can click save and close, Monica. Okay, you can refresh this. It will not appear in this backlog. It should not appear because this is a backlog with respect to developers, right? So now you have the one with the developers. What happened, Monica? You're sounding confused.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying
Don't
to.
Yeah, don't worry, man. I would recommend, just because you have not created the hierarchy again, right? So that's where you're ending up with the confusion. So today's class, the assignment for tomorrow would be, please do the assignment so that you will know the level of understanding for yourself. Okay,
Yeah.
create the hierarchy, create different team, explore project configuration, team configuration, create multiple teams, and see how the area path and iteration path works. Okay, set dates also we have not seen. So go to the iterations and set the dates. Okay, usually for an iteration, the dates should be only 10 days. Okay, don't set the iteration more than 10 days. Okay, so let's go. Yes, yeah,
And
Monica, tell me.
yes, this is a project which I created in the initial stage. Okay, so if I
Correct.
click on this, now we saw the iteration part, right? Here it by
Correct, correct.
default it is showing sprint 1, and
Yeah, because
yeah.
this process is different, no? This is
The
following basic process.
basic process. This is not agile process. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Okay,
okay, I got it. Yes, thank you.
okay, yeah, okay. Tomorrow we will see a little more about backlogs, but mostly everything is covered. But we need to understand a little bit about the other options in backlogs. Then we will look at the boards and queries tomorrow. Okay, so this is all for today. We'll continue tomorrow.
Okay.
Hope it is somewhat clear. I would expect more questions tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you got a chance to work. Otherwise, no doubts.
No, we are getting some confusion. That's why we are unable to ask
No, until
anything.
and unless you create teams and area paths by yourself, you will not be clear. That's what I mentioned before also. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
go ahead and explore. If you have really any doubts, like if you're really not understanding this area path and iteration path and the project and team configuration, no problem. We will take the topic again until you're clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Seems to be okay, but yeah, bit confusion. Hey,
Yeah, I understand.
Jaya, one small
Okay.
doubt.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Uh, Hello. Hello.
Yeah, tell me, Joseph.
Yeah, actually we are creating Epic, right? So
Correct.
in the Epic we are giving Epic is like a parent. So in that parent we have priority values. So some one to some
Correct.
five, four, priority,
Four. 1, 2, 3, 4.
yeah,
Correct.
four. Yeah. What is that priority meaning? Each priority one means what is that, and on what basis we have to include?
Usually this will be the decision which will be taken by BAs. But if you look at the priority, what you will understand from that is that this epic has to be executed first. Okay, so epic means what? It is a requirement, right? That means it is a full project development. So if they give you, if in an organization they might have different projects for different clients, right? So they will have 10 epics. Out of 10, they will segregate which has to be concentrated first. For that, they will use the priority.
Okay.
So one
Yeah.
is in high
Okay,
priority.
correct.
Yeah.
One is high priority. That means they should start executing that project. 2, 3 can be taken after some days. It's like that.
Okay.
And one more thing, when after creating that organization, so initially, so how can we delete that organization?
You have an option in the organization settings. Like if you go to organization settings, the very first option will allow you to delete that organization. Yeah, come down. Yeah, delete
Okay,
button.
okay. So I'm not able to see that one. Okay, fine. Yeah. Mm,
Maybe you would have
one.
created in your company's mail.
No. Uh,
Okay, that's the only reason where you can't delete.
okay.
Okay, if no questions, we can wrap up. I have one more call next.
Oh yeah, sure. Thanks, Jayashree.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Joseph and Kishore stay on the call. Others can drop off. And give me
Yeah.
a moment. I'll come back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Hello. Yeah. Both are there, right? Kishore?
Azure.
Okay.
Triple
Okay. Okay. Great. Fine. Yeah. Joseph, yeah, let's go ahead and continue the Azure basic thing. Okay. From tomorrow, I'll ask Chatterjee to share me a link only for Azure. Today, we will continue with the same link. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So to give you the overview about Azure, Azure is a portal. Okay. So it is a website where it is giving the SaaS based link, which will help us to go ahead and get these services online. So what is a service in Azure means if you're going to purchase any kind of server, or if you want to purchase a database, or if you want to purchase an app service, because nowadays we are not following the traditional approach or the approach we were following before to have a data center in place, right? So whenever you start a company, you need several infrastructure that has to be the prerequisite for your company to develop something, right? That time we had the physical infrastructure wherein the capital investment was really more, and we had a dedicated team who manages the whole infrastructure, correct? But right now, where we are in the cloud generation, and cloud is the portal which helps us to have the same infrastructure where we used to have in the physical one, and it gives us the benefits of having all the capabilities that we used to have in the physical infrastructure. Okay, we can also go ahead and create the virtual machines, that is the servers in Azure, similarly how we were creating in physical infrastructure as well. Not only machines, you can even create the virtual network, you can even create the routing table, create the IPs, private IPs, you can create much more, and you can also have the managed service. Okay, let me give you the different views of cloud service. So right now, you know that cloud service provider is one type of provider wherein it provides us the services online, right? So how these services are categorized? Okay, not only Azure, we have AWS, GCP, and 70 plus cloud providers, but these three are the major ones which most of the organizations use. And why we are going to Azure is because if your company is already investing on Microsoft technologies, like they already have the licenses to use the Microsoft products, then it would be a good choice to go with Azure portal, because with the developer's license or the professional license, you will have the access for Azure portal and the Azure DevOps as well. Okay.
Yeah, but
So
some of
to
some
yes.
some of my like in my organization we have some other clients, not only that, right? Big organization have some separate accounts. So
Mm-hmm.
even,
Mm-hmm.
even some of our account or client, they are using Oracle Cloud.
Yeah, Oracle also can be used. It depends on what client you're going to handle, but the
Yeah, but
concepts that you're going to handle
same.
will be same.
Okay, only terminology is different. Okay.
Only terminology and where you need to navigate to get that service will be different.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the services will be divided into three kinds. That is your IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. Okay.
Yeah.
IaaS stands for infrastructure as a service. That means you will have the full control on your infrastructure. Like you will have virtual machines, you will have other infrastructure services which is owned by you. That means the responsibility will be for you to maintain that in case of any of the maintenance activities, like if you want to do a patch, or if you want to do an upgrade, or if you want to install different applications that your company is using. So everything will be open to you. That means they're giving you that particular service for you, and you hold the ownership of that. Okay. Then we
Yeah.
have the next service, which is called as platform as a service, wherein 50% of what you do with the infrastructure is maintained by Azure. So for PaaS, the best example would be your app service and the SQL database service also. Okay, so in case in the IaaS, if you want to install a SQL, say for example, there is a requirement from your client that they want to have a SQL server and they want to create the number of databases inside that SQL server. Correct. So in IaaS, what you will do, you will purchase a server. Inside that server, you go ahead and install SSMS. I'm talking about SQL Server. I think this holds good for all the servers as well, or different database.
Okay.
Purchase the SQL Server license, then go ahead and install or create different databases and give the access to that particular user for that. Right here, the responsibility will be yours because you are going to install the custom application. That means you are going to install the SQL application, right? And you will be managing the whole application. If the virtual machine goes down, it'll be your responsibility to make the virtual machine up and also the SQL Server app also up, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to maintain that particular application, you need to have the backup mechanism, and if something goes wrong, you will only have to take care about the logs, backups, everything. Okay, that is with respect to IaaS. But in past, what happens is you have a service that is being offered for you from Azure, which is called as Azure SQL Service. So what does that mean is that they are going to maintain the underlying virtual machine which will be used for the SQL server to be up and running. That means when you purchase that service, you will have a SQL server ready. You don't have to install, don't do anything. You will have the database. If you want to create, go ahead and call that API or call the script using AZ, or if you want to do it via your UI, that is your portal.azure.com, there also go ahead, click on create database for that particular server, click on give the name, hit enter, it will create it for you. And going onwards, whenever you use that database or you are going to use the database with multiple databases as well, the Azure team will take care of that. Means the backup, recovery, everything will be managed by Azure team. Okay, so what do you get? The benefit from IaaS is that you can be free and you can concentrate on other work instead of managing activities with the database server. Okay,
Benefit
it
of
is much more.
yeah, but
Yeah.
there is any difference between the billings for the IAS and PAS SaaS, all these billings are different, right?
Yes, definitely billings are different, and it might be more in compare to PaaS because they are going to handle it for you. Definitely, it will be more compared to IaaS. But if you're going to use some techniques, you will have to see the Azure support. You can ask them that this is my plan. How will I go with that? Whether using IaaS, it would benefit me with respect to cost, or whether going with PaaS. They'll help you with that.
Okay. Yeah, but once I mean from starting onwards or from I have a lot of doubts about this cloud only. So if everything is every client or some all the organizations are moving to cloud, so then what is the security like if I am selecting the IaaS? I mean I want to use infrastructure platform as a service. So in the
Correct.
platform as a service, infrastructure is maintained by a particular provider, cloud provider like
Correct.
Azure or
Correct.
AWS or Google. So in that
Correct.
case, if my client is banking sector, so my data is everything are sitting on that particular server, so which is managing by particular service
Yes,
provider.
but
Yeah.
correct. What happens is the service provider is compliant with all the security things that they deal with. Say, for example, GDPR. Yes, they agree GDPR, or they will have a list of security policies, right? If you're talking about network security, or even if you're talking about cloud security, they have all these rules written, signed, everything. So whatever data you put inside cloud, it is completely safe. That is why most of the companies depend on cloud services. And in
Okay.
case if you're dealing with really very secure client and you want to encrypt your data, that is also possible in Azure. Like if you can even encrypt your OS, or you can even encrypt your data disk as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, that's where they tell you, Azure will tell you if you're purchasing any service with them, data is compliant 100% and the service is compliant 99.95%. Okay, because whenever you're purchasing some service from Azure, like you're taking virtual machine, SQL Server, anything, it doesn't mean that they are just going to give you in the fly. No, they have a separate data centers maintained in the
Yeah,
region, but
correct.
only that they will be the owner, they will be managing it.
Yeah, correct. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
correct.
the next service is SaaS service. SaaS service is much more easier, because what usually happens is if you're purchasing a SaaS service from Azure, that means you're purchasing a product only. That means you cannot edit that product. If that product is using a database, you cannot open that database, you cannot edit the information in the database. If you want to do that, there will be other procedure. That means the underlying infrastructure what a SaaS product has cannot be controlled. It will be the full responsible of the organization that is giving you that product. The best example for SaaS will be Azure DevOps. In Azure DevOps, you can go ahead, do multiple things, and if you're getting any updates, they will send you the release notes. Like there is a link wherein you can see the release notes for Azure DevOps product every month, what they are adding into that product. Okay, but you don't have any control, or in even in the queries they don't give you the access to perform everything. Only limited access will be provided. If you want to perform, you can consume the APIs, or if you want to add, you can use the extensions. That's how your product will be SaaS. But the advantage of having SaaS product is that it will be really fast, because everything is maintained by that particular third party owner. Okay, that means in Azure DevOps, it is Microsoft. So Microsoft owns that Azure DevOps, and whatever performance issues that you are facing, everything will be handled by Azure. And even if the link goes down, you can go ahead and ask them about the link going down or any issues. They will immediately revert back to you, because it is their responsibility and it is their product.
Okay, so
Okay,
same like it just end user perspective, they will build in like
correct.
it's OneDrive and Google Drive.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the 3 different offerings that we are getting from Azure. Not only Azure, all the
All
cloud
the
providers also will work in the same way.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
in today's class, let's go ahead and create an Azure portal. Do you have any Azure portal created, Joseph?
Yeah. I have created, and from that only I'm using Azure DevOps portal also.
Okay, yeah. Can you go ahead and share your screen?
Yeah. Can you please give access to me, permissions?
Yeah. Yes, you are the presenter now.
Yeah.
Kishu, let me know if you have any doubts. But you have already taken these 2, right? So we are going to see how to create virtual machines, Windows and
No, but
Linux.
one thing I'm not getting, what is the difference between IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, or something you're telling IaaS is infrastructure and SaaS is like Azure, and you're not getting free points, so just
Yeah,
being
see,
quiet.
IaaS means, as I told you, they'll give you the entire infrastructure for you only to maintain. Okay, so I'll give you a server for you. So if the server goes down, it will be your responsibility to bring the server up. Okay, in past solution, what happens? Instead of purchasing, see, to install SQL Server, there are 2 methods, right? One is to install the SQL Server by yourself. Like in your laptop, you will open SSMS, install the SQL Server, manage the SQL Server, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But in if you're taking a pass, that Azure service, what happens is you don't have to worry about installing the application or maintaining it, because the database means what happens, you should take the regular backup, You should see if something is going wrong. You have to do performance tuning. All those will be there with respect to database, right? So those things you don't have to worry. That will be taken care by Azure because you are paying them for that managed service. Got it,
How
right?
about the pass? Okay. This means SaaS is like a secure and who will be Azure will be handled. Am I right?
Not SaaS. This is PaaS solution.
Oh,
Yes,
PAS. We're talking about PAS.
PAA.
How about SAS?
Which one?
SAS.
Yeah, SaaS is the complete product. See, now in the SQL, you can perform few things. Like if you want to deploy the application, you have to link the application with the database. You can even do that. But in SaaS-based application, what happens is it will be like a URL. Your product will be delivered to you in the means of a URL, and that URL will be your entire product. You cannot change anything. That means you cannot control the virtual machine. Usually for a product to be online, right, any Flipkart link or any link, if you want to make that work, there will be several servers behind, like your application servers, web servers, database servers, right? So all
Hmm.
those, what will happen is that particular team will be handling all that to make sure that this link is up always. That one you don't have to worry because SaaS is a solution which is in terms of a product, and any issues with respect to the product, your Azure team will handle for you. Okay, that's where, see, now also ServiceNow is there. So ServiceNow is also a SaaS based product. That means you can use the product in terms of URL, right? Are you downloading anything when you are using ServiceNow? Are you downloading any exe when you are using ServiceNow? No. Azure DevOps,
Okay.
are you using any exe? No, right? But still you are able to access these two services. No, that is where it is called as SaaS. And if you have any doubts or any if the ServiceNow is not working, with whom do you tell? You will tell to the product team of that. That means you will communicate them to the channels so that they will handle it for you. SaaS means it's a full product where you will not have any access to that product. If you have any issues, you have to raise the ticket for them. They will handle it for you.
Okay. It's just like SaaS is nothing but a service. No example will take. Okay,
Example.
but what?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever the
ServiceNow
issues
can be
issues.
used. Yes. One thing, Kishore. ServiceNow can be used for different companies. The product is same, but whenever you are using for your project, they will change the logo. They will change few particular things. Correct. It can be used by other companies, but they will do some customizations. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
That means it is a full product. You are purchasing that product from ServiceNow company and giving your requirements. That team will work on that. You are not going to work on that. Correct.
Exactly.
So that is where your whole SaaS product will come into picture.
Mm-hmm. Just like SaaS is nothing but like a product. Am I right? It's
Yes.
like a
Yeah,
service.
yeah. Entirely developed product or developing product also. Whatever they are
Yeah.
doing, they will tell you what they are doing. That's all. If you give an input, if it is valid, they will take that also into the development consideration.
Okay. If something need changes in the service now, then in
Yeah,
the part of SaaS only they will do. Am I right?
correct, correct. Yes, yes. But they
And
might charge for it.
they will charge for something if it is anything required more. Okay. How about the pass? Pass is nothing but uh,
Pass is
in, in,
50% automation kind of thing.
Mhm.
Okay. You see in SaaS, you can't even look at anything. Like if you want to change also, you can't see anything. But in PaaS, you can see the databases, you can modify the databases. That means you can run the queries in the databases. Okay, like insert, update, everything you can do. But in SaaS, you can't even do that.
Mhm. Okay.
And most of your work will be automated. Say, for example, another example for PaaS is your Azure App Service. Okay. So what does your Azure App Service will do is, if Azure App Service is not there, what you will follow, you will take the code, you will build the code, you will put that code in a server, correct?
Mm.
But if you're using Azure App Service, what will happen? You have this Azure App Service connection in the code only. You will run the
Mhm.
code, you will tell deploy this solution to app service. That's all. You are not doing the other step wherein you are building the code, correct? Like a few steps will be there which will be eliminated due to this PaaS service, so that your development will be much more faster. See, if you have to deploy, you have to go to a team, ask the team, deploy this. For this deployment, I need these configurations to be present. Okay, correct, right? Because your product, what you're developing, will not be compatible with everything. Like if you are developing a product using C#, it will not be compatible with all the machines. Maybe it will work with Windows, but it will not work with Linux. It will not work with um, CentOS. It will not work with Red Hat. So for that, what usually we do is we prepare the environment before. Like there will be a separate development deployment team who will take care of all these configurations. This team you can eliminate by purchasing Azure App Service, because Azure App Service will take care of all these things. It will go ahead and deploy it to an environment. Understood?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Joseph. Share the screen.
Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead and share the screen.
Yeah, 1 second. It is showing some error. Can you please give one more? I mean, I'm unable
No, you
to
are.
share my screen. So,
Yeah. See now. You are
it is
the
showing.
organizer as well.
1 second. But it is showing. I'm still trying facing issue.
No. See, you have 4 options, right? Mic, camera, screen,
Yeah,
leave.
yeah,
Click on screen.
yeah. That so I'm clicking there only, but it is showing. It is taking some time, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Now you are able to see my screen, right? Waiting for the.
Yeah,
Yes, I
I'm able
think.
to see it. Yes, we are able to see it.
Yeah. So
Go to the Azure portal.
yeah. Yeah, the
Okay.
Azure portal.
Correct. So here, the first service we are going to see is the virtual machines. Okay, so that is a basic service that you need to understand in Azure. So what does your virtual machine do is that it will help you to create multiple machines. Okay, because for a company, for a product development, it might be that they are using different machines. If it is a Java project, they will be consuming Linux machines. If they're using
Yeah.
.NET project, they will be using Windows machines,
Yeah.
right? So now let's
Yeah.
go ahead and create one Windows machine and one Linux machine. Yeah, click on add. Yeah, it is loading.
Straight tab.
Yeah, subscription. Okay, in Azure, everything works on resource group and the subscription. Okay, in case if you want to create any service in Azure, you need to have a subscription in place, and also you need to make sure you are having a resource group also. Okay, so what is resource group is? It is just a name that you're going to provide, so that whatever you're creating for that name will be grouped together.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and click on create new. Give Windows machine, Windows or something.
It is not taking group name, only allows the alphabets.
Don't give capital letter.
Caps. Okay. No, the resource members are part of named. Okay.
No,
So it should
yeah, if
be
you
some other.
no, yeah, something like that. Yes. Give the virtual machine name. Give demo Windows machine or something.
Windows it will.
Yeah, region also will matter, because not all the machines will be available in all the regions. Okay, if you're not able to see some machines here under the image or something, then you will have to change. But I think East US has the image. Yeah.
Okay. So
Availability options right now, let's not give. We'll go through the availability later. Okay, so image you give Windows, because we are going to create a Windows machine. Windows 2019 data center, or you can even give Windows 10 Pro
16.
also, but let's take 2019 or 16.
Okay. Azure
Okay,
Spot
size.
instance.
Azure Spot instances, whether you want to create it a Spot instance so that you can, like the charges will be little more to Spot instances. So let's select no.
No. Okay.
Okay, and
So this is
size,
the t-shirt size.
yes. You can even select on, click on select so that you can see all the available size for that region, for that machine.
Select size. Okay. So
So all these are the different configurations of your virtual machine. Okay, like in terms of your CPUs, RAM, data disk, IOPS, everything. Okay,
okay.
right now let's select that because we are going to terminate this after this class.
Then
Okay, so right now you're selecting 2 CPU, 8 GB RAM thing, right?
okay. Anything is fine, no? Okay.
Anything
8
is
GB
fine.
RAM. Okay. Okay.
Yes. Here you can select the administrator account, yeah, Azure user, and give the password to connect to that virtual machine.
Yeah. Inbound, outbound, this firewall rules, no need, right? We need to.
Right now, not required, but if you want to do it also, you can do it. Like select that inbound port drop down. Yeah.
Yeah, it is RDP
If you
3389 is default.
yeah,
It's a virtual
RDP by default.
Windows. Yeah, it's Windows, na? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Click on
So,
next. Yeah. So this is the information about your disk, like what type of OS disk you want to select and what type of encryption type. Let's give the default one only because premium is the like most recommended. Okay, and encryption also, if it is not a major client or if it is not a client who is looking out for the encryption, you can keep the default one as well. Okay,
okay.
yeah, come down, let's see the data disk.
Encryption also.
Scroll down.
Data. So 1 second, it is, yeah.
Okay, right now we are not going to create any data disk because by default we have 4 data disk based on the size that we have selected, right?
Yeah. So in the advanced,
Come down. In the advanced, it will tell you whether you want to use magnetic disk or for the OS.
okay. So I'm going to next option.
Next, yeah, networking. Yeah, networking here, as you know that we need to bind a network for the machine. So by default, whatever you have will be taken. Like for that region, what network will be used? It will be created like it is creating a new virtual network, VM, VIN, VM, VNet, and it is taking the subnet and it is allocating the public IP also. Okay. Yeah, it is creating everything new.
Okay. So, but okay. So, but what about private IP? Actually, default whenever we created we spun up a virtual machine, default private IP as well as public IP also should create, right?
Yes, it will create here. Even public and private IP, both the things it will create. This is the virtual network by default it is creating, right? But in case if you, whenever you're working in the production environment, it will not be a public network we are going to choose. It will be a private network which is already created and followed. It will be in the list. Right now, we are not seeing anything in the virtual network list, but it will be present.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, come down.
And this is
Yeah, these
inbound
things
RDP.
should be fine. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
want to accelerate the network, or if you want to place this one in a load balancing solution, these things we will see later, like when we are seeing the load balancing thing. But I think
Yeah.
you should be knowing already, right?
Yeah, I have a little bit knowledge of load balancer and all.
Mm-hmm. We will see that also, not a problem.
Yeah. And what about
Okay.
this accelerated networking means?
Accelerated networking means, say for example, right now we are selecting 8 GB and 4 data disk, right? So it is already at its maximum. Okay, that's where it is telling there is no need for the accelerated networking. If you need accelerated networking, you need to either add a new virtual machine. But in case if you're creating a virtual machine with lesser size, like 1 CPU, 1 GB, then accelerated networking would be preferred so that it can span up to 4 CPUs, 8 GB. Okay, like how you increase your CPUs and GB to the maximum to that definition.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Got
Let's
it.
go to next.
And
Yes.
yes, okay. Monitoring, no need of monitoring as of now. Yes, guest diagnostic,
Yeah.
no need. Storage account is
Book
there.
diagnostic also you can keep it off. It's not required because
Yeah.
book
Okay.
diagnostics, yes. Off. And all
Yeah.
these are with respect to your management
Monitorings.
monitoring.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go to next.
Yeah. Here extensions to install extensions. No need. I
Yeah,
think.
extensions, as you know, that if you want to add any extension, like if you want to install any applications before, like after creating this virtual machine, you want to make sure that some of the application should be installed. Then you can make use of extensions, but that is anyways optional.
Okay. So directly those. I mean, can I check that once again?
Yeah, you can check. See,
Okay.
extensions
Here.
would be all these based on what you're going to create the server for.
Okay.
If you want to install the agents and all that, right? So you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
make use of the extensions.
Okay. So as of now, no need. And custom data host group. What is this host group?
Okay, come down. The host group means like in your company, if they want to differentiate the different host group based on different requirements or the clients, they would go ahead and do it with the subscription level as well.
Okay.
Okay, like one subscription should have one host group, the other subscription should have one another source group, like host group. That's how the host group will be useful.
Okay.
This is with respect to billing and management.
Okay.
Okay, and even the
Yeah.
proximity placement group, no, that is also to put the resources physically together in the same region. Like if you know that the users will be using like users are from a particular region and you want to put those machines in that physical region so that the latency will be low, right? So in that case you can go with this option.
Okay.
Okay, and the VM generation also you can choose like generation 1 or generation 2.
Okay. Mm,
Like generation 8, it is giving you an error, right? Not error, warning, telling that it is not yet supported for Azure platform features. Generation
Okay.
2 mostly uses
Generation
generation 1.
one. Okay. Generation one, generation two. It is related to any CPU
Not for CPU, I guess it is a processor
kernel.
thing, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
kernel
mean
thing.
GPU and processor. Yeah, kernel thing. Okay. So
Yeah, let's go to the tags. Next tags. Yeah, here tags will also be an important feature because whenever you are handling multiple virtual machines in an organization, right? Like in a Azure portal, then it becomes difficult which project to which project this particular virtual machine should belong, right? So it is a good practice to tag them. Like name you can give project, and value you can give the actual project name. Like project, you can give your working project name or something. Okay, or you can give demo also. Anything,
Okay.
anything. Fine.
Yeah.
This is only for your identification.
Okay. Okay. This is
And do you
like a
want to put this name and tag to all the resources? Yeah, all the resources should be good because you're going to create this for a resource group, right? So that you can know which resource group which team is consuming.
okay. Okay.
Okay.
So this page is mainly related to admin.
Correct.
So for the
Mostly it is admin only.
identification.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And then let's
Review
go to review and create.
to create.
Before that, it will validate if that particular machine is available in that region, or all
Okay.
the settings are done.
But actually, valid
Click
pass
on
it is
create.
it is allowing us. But you have RDP
Yes,
reports open to only recommended for testing. Okay.
that's fine because it is telling you RDP you are enabled, so that be careful if
Yeah.
anyone has that file, will be able to access it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, click on create. It will take a little bit of time.
Yeah. So it's okay. Azure is always hourly based charging, right? So, but in the AWS, it's some free, some hours it is giving some
Uh,
free billing. I mean, there is no
no,
any billing.
here also you have free service, but we have selected a machine which has 8 GB, right? So the free one will be usually one and one, like
One
one
bill,
CPU,
yeah.
1 GB is
Yes, yes, basic one. Okay.
basic one, correct. Okay. Yeah,
So,
let's wait for 2 minutes,
see, okay.
and then we can go ahead and connect to that virtual machine. Because whenever you give the creation for a virtual machine, it's not that only machine will be created. It will create the network, it will create the NSG, it will create the NIC, everything, and bind it to that virtual machine, right? So for that, it will take a little bit of time. You can see all the resources that are part of this virtual machine.
Okay. So, Nettles and everything we can configure, right?
Which one?
Nettles in the sense like what are the firewalls and everything we can create, right? In that
You can
VPC.
create. Correct, you can create.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a separate topic for that, which is called as virtual network. So in that virtual network, you will have different aspects that you want to configure. Okay, here also we will see.
Okay.
Yeah, go to resource. So here to your left hand side, what all properties you see, all that contribute to different aspects of your virtual machine.
Yeah, but here it is not showing any public IP and private IPs.
It is there, no? Above that. It's not, you are seeing IPv6. It's not
This
IPv6.
is
It is
sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, correct.
okay.
It's
Private is also
IPv4.
there, public is also there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, correct.
Yeah, let's go ahead and connect to this machine. Click on connect.
Okay. Directly I can use RTP now.
No, you have to use the file what is used, because this RDP will not have the user, what is that, username and password binded. So click on connect. You need to download that file.
Okay.
RDP, click on
RTP.
RDP. Download RDP file. Appy, row. Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Joseph. Okay, you were able to connect, right?
Yeah, but I tried, but let me check once again.
Download the RTP. Yeah, download the RTP file. Username, you give the username that was present when we were creating. I think it was admin user or something, right? That one, and the password you entered.
Admin or else Azure.
Go back to the portal.
Think.
Here, you will have the username actually. Come down.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, scroll down.
Computer
down.
name. Okay.
Not the computer name. Come down. Give reset password. Click on reset password below.
Oh. Username it is asking,
Okay.
but it is Azure
Yeah, you
only,
give
I
the
think.
username. It was Azure user or something. Go to third option.
IAM.
Yeah, IAM.
But
Okay. No, you're not here.
default it should show,
Should
but
be there somewhere.
yeah. Because I'm trying with Azure, but it is not. Okay.
No, it was not Azure. It was admin user.
Okay, let me check them 1 second. Admin, right? Admin user. I forgot.
You can reset it better.
Not I 1 second. But my doubt is user is correct or not, same thing. No, user is not admin.
Right. Yeah, you can create the user and then check, Joseph. I'm getting late. I have a call again. Okay.
Okay, Jaya. Yeah.
Okay.
Then
Thank
we'll
you.
connect
We'll connect
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, bye.